So thank you for the organizers to invite me, and even to Patrick and Christian, because they know I have some kind of skeptical mind or critical mind in this field, not because of the technology, but because of the gap between vendors and hospital pharmacies. So in this case, I have to rain a little bit on Christian's parade. So this is my conflict of interest, and you see that I'm also working with the 2D printer Christian already showed to you. And my personal background was already given by Patrick. I still have to say that I have the strong, I really think that hospital production of hospital pharmacy production of ready-to-administer, ready-to-use drugs with the right dosage and so on is very crucial for hospitals and also for hospital pharmacies in Germany. So what is it about in the small scale production in hospitals in Germany? We do a lot of production in German hospital pharmacies, not in every German hospital pharmacy, but in the very large hospital pharmacies. And there are several reasons behind that. There is the first reason that no drug is in the market. This also means wrong dose or wrong route of application. You see the example that childcare is always in this field, and we also produce lots of ready-to-administer syringes, things like that. We produce those things from licensed proprietary medicinal products available in the market. So we do some kind of reworking, which also mean that there is research and development behind. And we also sometimes do drug production in the case when the drug is too expensive or we are faced with drug shortages. And this is often the case in the group of patients with rare diseases. And also here we use raw substances if they are available in the market. So I have one mission statement around this drug production with some kind of technology. Because I think the biggest challenge for health systems in the near future is not financing. I think in Germany, we have money, and I think we will come through, even if the hospitals in total in Germany have a problem with budget constraints. But I guess that the problem of the future will be staffing and staff recruitment. And so our mission statement over here at University Hospital of Heidelberg Pharmacy Department is that automating should take place wherever possible. And this means cytotoxic reconstitution, TPN, logistics, extemporaneous formulations, and there we are in the field of 2D or 3D printing then. The workload and the human resources, even if I bring it down to our pharmacy department at Heidelberg University Hospital, really is already driven by problems with human resource shortages. And this is the case in pharmacists and pharmacy technicians, but also outside the pharmacy department in the case of nurses and so on. So automatization, wherever possible, has to be something you have to work with. And we have one sentence or one goal in this, that robots always have to help the staff and not that the staff has to work for the robots. This is a little bit coming from our first robot, which was like just a picking machine to to bring packages of brands to the wards. And several of those robots really, they didn't help the staff, but the staff has always to run for the robot, and this is not a good way. IT always is a prerequisite for that. So we are still on the way to get electronic patient charts and CPOAs in hospitals. Not every hospital has it yet. And there is also one point which is very crucial. This is flexibility and speed has to be a goal when you automate processes. For us, why are we interested in printing of medicines? We already have a long history in individualization and panelization of medicines in our hospital pharmacy. We reconstitute cancer drugs. We do more than 90,000 per year. We produce TPN for neonates. We do lots of dose adjustment for in the case of oral medicines for children or in patients with organ failure. And we also clearly know that we have another patient groups outside childcare, which is already has been mentioned by Christian also, which is geriatrics, where you have problems with swallowing. But this don't has to be the end of the patient groups to be listed over here. The process, if we see the now and then in Germany, as I already said, we have the patient group of pediatric patients, and we have IMP development for clinical trials, also in oncology, where we have a need for a special dose of an oral drug for a special patient. And we have to make the administration to very young children feasible and achieve child-appropriate dosage. If you see the now in those cases with these very small children over here, then the usual way is to produce solutions or capsules for them, and we give it to the parents of those very little patients, and then they do things with those drugs. So in the case of capsules, they always pour the powder of the capsule into the food of the little one, and so on and so on. So you really lose control on the dosage, because perhaps food is too hot, or the little one always puts it out again of his mouth and things like that. So you cannot be quite sure that the dosage you want to have into the patient will also get into the patient. And this is really a big advantage of all dispersible films, because you put it in the mouth and this film dissolves so quickly that you have more control on your dosage. The problem we have with the production of capsules and oral solutions is already also given by Christian. If you produce it as contemporaneous solutions or capsules in your hospital pharmacy, you also have to do validation, plausibility check, you have to do literature research, you have to do a processing of the API or proprietary drugs, you have to do stability testing, quality control, good labeling, so on. So there's not only a production of a capsule, but also lots of work to be done before you produce your first capsule. Nevertheless, we do it timely. So this is a process you can do in a very short time, because it's not only your pharmacy department who is working on this, but we have all hospital pharmacy departments which are connected and give the information absolutely quickly from one hospital pharmacy to the other hospital pharmacy if they do some research on development of a new capsule or oral solution with a special dosage for a neonate or for a small one. Another problem Christian also mentioned is that the patient will only stay in hospital for a limited time. Production is really time critical. And you also have to keep in mind that when the patient leaves the hospital, the medication has to go with the patient, which does not mean that it physically goes with the patient, but that the border, so to say, between hospital pharmacy and a retail pharmacy has easily to be overcome. So we put all our production process or all our production paperwork, analytical paperwork in a Medscape secured internet or homepage. So as I said, flexibility and speed are key. This is what we do for the little ones and for special patient groups who don't get the right doses from the market. We produce something like 35,000 capsules per year, approx 1,500 liters per year of oral solutions, and mainly we do it for childcare. And as I mentioned, production protocol test record is available for every healthcare professional in Germany. He can go to our homepage and give his doc check password, and then it's open access. And we always do some kind of make or buy decision making process. And we have a quality management system in place, which really describes the drug development process in our hospital pharmacy. If you see the extemporaneous production landscape over here, we have a publication in our German journal of the German Association of Hospital Pharmacy. We have a special interest group on medicines production and analytics. And if you see this slide over here, which you cannot read on the right-hand side, we have a list of drugs which are used in childcare in special dosages, and yeah, you can follow those publications and get your extemporaneous production in place. We also have some kind of a wish list in different settings, and the reasons for the production over here is not only always wrong dose, so that we produce something with an adopted dose, but sometimes it's also bad taste and problems with swallowing of tablets and capsules, which create the wish list for 2D printing for us. There is several literature in place already, which describes the problem. You see over here a publication from Fisser and et al., which shows that there is an unmet need in the case of children that go to other productions in hospital pharmacy. You have the same for nursing homes, where it was showed that there is a reason for producing ODFs, and also shown that there are several APIs suitable to be considered for ODF production. And research really is needed. We have done some research regarding orodispersible films already. So we have different orodispersible films, also loaded orodispersible films, which is perhaps also a possibility to to have a higher amount of drug inside the orodispersable films. And there is lots of work to do also in, as Christian mentioned, in stability of ink, stability of solvents for ink production, stability of ready to administer ODF, package and storage, and shelf life is a point, and the very point really is compatibility of ink and ODF. So for me, there is up to now some kind of a gap between vendor and hospital pharmacy, because I up to now cannot really see the role for hospital pharmacy as we have it up to now. So my ideal 2D, 3D printer has to work with those inside those environments I give you over here. So the ideal printer will print ink within a given set of specifications like pH, compatible solvents, concentration, density, viscosity. This is what all those parameters will describe the ideal ink. And a good 2D, 3D printer will document all quality parameters in process, and I will be able to see it if the printer stands in my hospital pharmacy department. So this is size of droplets, form of droplets, temperature for the bank where the ODF lies on, and so on. And the ideal printer will be operated with parameters. So what I want to have is to say the printer just print XYZ drops per millimeter square on this film. That's what I want to have as a controlling possibility for the printer. I don't want to have a printer where I have a setting of different drugs inside, and I then print, for example, midazolam 1 milligram or something like that. I want to be flexible as possible with this, and therefore development and production of ink and orodispersible films has to be possible for hospital pharmacists and not be bought from printer vendors. And this is also because flexibility and speed is so crucial for us. So my personal opinion is that the business case we know from inkjet printers we can buy for our office in the market, like Epson, HP, Canon, just to name a few, cannot work with a 2D printer in the hospital pharmacy setting. So, and this means that if I, in the business case up to now, a printer is some kind of cheap, but if I have to buy new cartridges with ink, then I really have to pay a fortune. And this cannot work, in my opinion, as a business model for printer vendors in the setting of hospital pharmacy departments. So my conclusion is that we need a printer for inks we can develop and produce by ourselves in the hospital pharmacy to do contemporaneous production. The drug development in hospital pharmacy is a prerequisite, but also a must for every hospital pharmacy in Germany. I can say this. Hospital pharmacy is responsible for the production of extemporaneous drugs and therefore has to have full control of drug production and also the quality parameters. And university hospital pharmacies, at least they have an active role in patient-focused research and development, and this means individualized, personalized drug development, even in the field of clinical studies, but also in the patient care from real patients. Thank you very much.